can open that door? Oh my gosh.
You're gonna swim to shore. You're dragging your parachutes with you. There was a couple of guys that have tried to touch the tail. They're not supposed to do that. That's a bad idea. Hey, you're coming down fast in thin air, and there's a lot of rock on top of this mountain with trees on fire.
So you guys are the Navy SEALs of firefighters.
I like it.
Is there like a cave in there?
What in the peninsula?
Theophilus Magruder. Theophilus Magruder. Phineas Magruder, or Mr. and Mrs. Magruder. Theophilus. His name was Theophilus. Theophilus, Mr. and Mrs. Theophilus Magruder. Hey guys. Hey, what's up? We're at the Smoke Jumper base. We got Grandma Suki here, Agatha, Prosper, Arthur. The gang's all here. And we're looking at this plane. Oh. You can open that door? Oh my gosh, I hope that's okay. But let's look inside. So this is the door. That's the door that the smoke jumpers jump out of. And this is the cockpit of the plane.
So you drive on that part.
Yeah, and the smoke jumpers are in here.
Where are they?
Not right now. But they would have been in here a long time ago.
A year ago.
A year ago, more than a year. More than a year. Oh, here's Gary. Hello, Gary.
How you doing?
I'm super good. How are you? Do you mind if I film like a couple stories?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Open up the door and you can look in.
Oh, that's great. We actually already took the liberty. This is my mom,
Oh, hi. Nice to meet you.
Suki, and Arthur, Agatha, and Prosper.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're on a little family excursion.
Yeah.
Yeah, but tell us, what type of aircraft is this?
This is a Twin Beach or a C-45. In
Oh, okay.
military.
Okay. Twin
We had
Beach.
these for 20 years. We had 2 Twin Beaches like this. They hold 4 to 5 jumpers.
Okay.
This plane was first built in 1937.
Okay, wow.
And
it went into, how long did it serve as a smoke jumper?
20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
Wow. Beautiful.
Yeah, all the bases had these.
Mhm.
4 original bases, Missoula, Montana, Call, Idaho, Winthrop, Washington, and Cape Junction, Oregon.
Yeah.
All had 2 Twin Beaches.
And now you jumped here.
Yes, I jumped for 17 years.
17 years.
Yes.
And so, and what were those years? From starting when?
Well, actually, it was from 1966 to 1985, but I went to Vietnam in the middle. Of
Oh,
the
yeah.
fire. So, but I jumped 17 times, actually.
Wow.
And,
Were you a paratrooper in Vietnam?
No. I was
No.
not.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, but this plane is a very, very...
Well, thank you for your service.
Oh, well, thank you.
That's
It's very multiple use aircraft. They'd even use it for a small airline in some places.
okay. I see.
Just put
Oh, okay.
8 passengers in it. But
Sure.
with our, 4 to 5 for us with cargo and everything, cargo and jumpers, it's pretty full.
Mhm.
And you have to get out that door. You have to kind of squeeze down here and put
Yeah,
your
no
feet
kidding.
out.
So,
Your
are
feet out the door
Mhm.
and then go out, because otherwise.
and you're not worried? You're not worried about clearing this tail.
No, and
You're always going to fall away from the
You go
tail.
way down fast. You go about like this.
Sure.
And there was a couple of guys that have tried to touch the tail. They're not supposed to do that. That's a bad idea. But they couldn't even come close.
You told a story one time about how you got on the plane and then you found out that you were going to Colorado.
Right, almost to the it was the Utah-Colorado border, right in there.
Wow.
And it was on top of this mountain. It was we had to jump at 12,000 feet because we're in the Rockies. And but what surprised me about that was the Beech 99, not these planes. We didn't have to refuel it on the way. We took off here about 3:20 in the morning, and 10 o'clock in the morning we're on that fire.
Wow.
And it was in a very remote place, in a primitive area. And lightning caused, of course, that's what 98% of our fires are lightning started.
Yeah.
And we had to jump at 12,000 feet. When you're jumping at that high, you're coming down fast in thin air. And there's a lot of rock on top of this mountain with trees on fire. But there was a 10-acre lake, and we all just did a water jump. We're trained to do water jumps. It's about the easiest jump you can make.
Oh yeah.
There's so much padding in our jumpsuits that it's buoyant.
Oh, you actually float. I
Yeah,
thought
you'll
I thought
float.
a water jump would be instant death, but
No, it's actually so easy. It's about
Wow.
the easiest thing you can do. It looks kind of freaky the first time you try it, but it's incredibly easy, and it's like you only go down about this far in the water.
and then you're all wet, but you have a fire to dry out
Right.
at.
You know, you're gonna swim to shore. You're dragging your parachutes with you, and you hang them on a bush, and you take off your jumpsuit and put it on a bush. And when you get back, it's all dry.
Mhm.
So better than jumping in trees.
I bet you have every jump is another saga, because you got every jump is different.
Yeah, there are some really easy ones and some real hard ones. You know.
Right. Right.
And then sometimes we go down to California, and it would just be a lot hotter there. It's already 105 degrees here, and it's 115 down
Oh,
there.
yeah,
you
man.
know? And then you get next to the fire, and it just feels even more difficult. But a lot of them, you know, the big benefit of this whole thing is we can get to the fire so fast, put them out. And there was no mega fires, and there was no houses burned. They burned 1,000 houses since the base shut down, right around here, 1,000 homes.
Yeah.
So
I believe it.
hardly any timber was burned because we would stop the fire.
Why did that service stop?
Because the Forest Service came to us in 1980 and 81 and said, we're closing this to save money. But these big fires are not.
Oh, you can't go on the runway. Nope.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Let me get one of
Sorry,
these cars. I think I have one in the truck, and I'll give it to you. Okay,
Yeah.
just to take with you. Today.
Oh, wow.
This is a fire comparison chart.
Yes, fire comparison chart. This is the average acres burned during this 30-year period before they opened a base. That's what happened. If fire went from here to here. This is at 39 years the base was open. This is when they came to us right here and said, we're closing this base to save money. That's not saving money.
No, 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 no.
That's
Yeah. Those who had a longing for adventure and purpose. It says right here. So this place, what's really interesting is that in the 40s, there were conscientious objectors who jumped out of this base because, you know, back then, if, you know, being a conscientious objector, you'd be branded as a coward. You might even be thrown in jail, right? But so this was a way for conscientious objectors to prove that they weren't cowards, that they were doing something that's not only brave, venturesome, but also like very much serving the country, serving the community, and doing something that is very important work. Hey, Gary's back.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, back with us. Thanks for coming back, sir.
Oh, thank you.
First thing I want to ask, well, so now we're in, what's the name of this?
This is just the office.
Yeah, but you guys had a colloquial name for it, didn't you? The think tank or something like that?
Well, I've never heard that because no one ever complimented us that much. The first 19 years we were here, they used the closet in the loft. It was just about as small as this room right here.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see.
And then the Forest Service offered us this building.
Oh, yeah.
This building was down at the ranger station.
Oh, I see.
It's called the Redwood Ranger Station.
And you moved it here.
And we
You hauled it over.
jacked it up and towed it down the highway behind 2 trucks and gave it to us. Originally, the jumpers here were called the Redwood Smoke Jumpers.
Oh, cool. Yeah. And so what's the story with this this plane with no landing gear?
Yeah, the landing gear collapsed when they're coming down the
Oh,
runway.
man. But it survived? Everybody survived that?
Yeah, there was no one was hurt, and
That must have threw some sparks.
yeah, I bet it did. I wasn't here, but yeah. But this is what the office looked like, this building right here, when we got back in here, because the Forest Service gave this whole operation to the county, but the county didn't have the money to take care of it, so in 2004, they said, we're bringing in a D8 bulldozer, and we're just going to bulldoze all these buildings here and burn them up, put them in a pile and burn them. And so
I heard about that, and these guys saved you. They wrote a check.
Yes, they wrote a check for $300,000, and we bought the buildings.
Nice.
That took some years to go through the the hassle of the bureaucracy is not easy to deal
No
with.
kidding, I'm
Yeah.
sure. Well,
Yeah.
I'm sure glad they did that because this
Yeah.
place is such a great
Yeah, it's
stop.
a lot of history, a lot of, it's important.
And if you're ever going to the Redwoods from Medford, from Grants Pass, from Ashland,
Yeah.
this is a great spot, equidistant.
Yes.
So, and it's a big part of the story of this region. So
Yes.
always stop at the Smoke Jumper Base Museum in the Illinois Valley Airport.
Admission
And
is,
call up Gary.
okay, that's good, yeah. Admission is free, and we have restrooms here and the picnic tables if you want to have lunch or something.
Yeah,
So,
it's a beautiful, beautiful wayside. So Gary, can you show us a little
Yeah,
bit of
sure.
the operations here? So this was the dispatch center.
yes, this is dispatch right here. Betty worked in this office for about 8 years at this desk right here. She's taking a fire call right here off this radio right here. She gets a fire call. She hits a siren. Jumpers run for the loft to get their gear. Pilots run in here to Betty to get the coordinates to the fire. They start the engines. The jumpers get on the plane. We're trying to get out of here in 4.5 minutes. That's our goal.
Wow, you're the Minutemen.
Well, we're trying to, and
Yeah.
most of these fires we can catch them. About 99% of them we caught from here.
Well, every fire starts with one tree burning.
Yes, right.
Right?
Yeah,
So-
the lightning hits a tree is what happens.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
tree is on fire at the top, and it just sends out sparks and catches the grass and brush underneath it.
So you guys are the Navy SEALs of firefighters.
Well, that's a big compliment. Thank you, and it just makes it me. I like it.
Okay, good. We'll go with that.
Yeah, okay, sounds good. Yeah, that's a real.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much, Gary. Thanks for, showing us around a little bit.
Yeah.
So what was that you were saying about chasing the storms?
I didn't realize that the smoke jumpers will actually chase a storm
Yeah,
as
right.
it goes through starting fires.
Right, they're really like storm chasers.
Yeah, I was just going to put it here for
Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time, okay?
Sounds good. Have a nice trip.
That was a slide, huh? Wow. Over here. Look at that nook. Look at that nook. Can you get in there? Is there like a cave in there?
Wow. We're gonna take a picture. That's cool. That's tiny. That tiny.
Arthur, are you around this side? Yeah? Oh, I see. You're up there. Oh, yeah. There he is. Look at Arthur. He's in an animal's hole with the air conditioning on.
Doesn't it look like there's like frogs somewhere?
Wow.
It actually grows.
It grows all the way across.
It's in the ground here and in the ground there.
I see that. That's so cool. Hey, Rob, between these two big trees here. And I'll come around the other side. Are you the fan? Oh, cool.
Beautiful.
Hey, I took. Where I took the picture?
It's a leopard one.
A leopard. It should be called a rotten banana slug, not a leopard.
A rotten one?
Yeah, because
It looks like a rotten banana.
It looks like a snake to me.
A snake, huh? We are at Battery Point Lighthouse. It was first put into service in 1856. There was a fella named Theophilus Magruder. Theophilus Magruder, Phineas Magruder, or Mr. and Mrs. Magruder. Theophilus, his name was Theophilus. Mr. and Mrs. Theophilus Magruder. I mean, you couldn't even make up a better name than that for a lighthouse keeper. He was the first lighthouse keeper here at Battery Point, and in 1856 he moved in here with his wife. That winter there were historic storms off the Pacific, and a rogue wave came up these, amazingly, up these cliffs, and this happened quite a bit. Came up these cliffs and slammed into the building. Now this building is made of 3-foot thick brick and mortar. So the building can withstand many, many hits from rogue waves, but not so about the kitchen, which is down here and is made of wood. That kitchen was penetrated by the rogue wave into the into those little windows and then upset an oil lamp, which set the whole kitchen on fire. Now, the rest of the house, lighthouse, was absolutely fine after that. The rest of the lighthouse, brick and mortar, survived the fire no problem. The kitchen was annihilated, unfortunately. So Theophilus and his wife wrote a dispatch to Sacramento asking them for funds to rebuild the kitchen, petitioning the government for funds. Now, the government, being as it is, and always will be, apparently, was run by all kinds of low-level bureaucrats and desk workers and people who had never been up here and didn't understand anything about this place. And so, in like fashion, this letter landed on the desk of a low-level bureaucrat. You can imagine, you know, this bespectacled kind of look of chagrin as he opens the letter and sees that it's asking for money. Well, he's got to go to his superior to ask for clearance for the money, for the funds. So he does so, and to his additional chagrin, his superior orders him to go make an inspection of the Battery Point Lighthouse, all the way from Sacramento. Now, at that time, that means you got to ride whatever kind of animal you can get a hold of through the mud and the fog and the wind and the rain and the wilderness, and eventually you'll make it up here. And so in about a month, that low-level bureaucrat with his spectacles besmirched came across the channel over here at low tide and up to the lighthouse, met Mr. and Mrs. Magruder, and did an inspection of the lighthouse, walked around it. Then he took out his notepad and he wrote in it. He said, I do not see any evidence that there ever was a kitchen at the Battery Point Lighthouse. And now this was because Phineas Magruder, or Theophilus, I mean, Phineas is another cool name, but his name was Theophilus. Theophilus had cleaned up the place very fastidiously. He was an army captain, an ex-army captain, and he did his job quite well. So he scrubbed this place of every piece of detritus and charred pots and pans and everything, and the whole mess of the kitchen was nothing was to be found of it. No evidence to be found. And so the bureaucrat, satisfied with himself, put a period at the end of the sentence, folded up his notebook, and rode his horse back down the ramp here. Unfortunately for him, to his additional chagrin, he found that the channel had filled with water, as it does every day. And we may even see this when we go down. So that he was trapped on what was now an island and what had been an isthmus when he rode across. So he rode back to his additional chagrin, rode back up the ramp, and petitioned Mr. and Mrs. Magruder for a cot for him to sleep in till morning, because he was going to be stuck on the island. So he was in his room, and around dinner time, his stomach started grumbling. So he came up to Mrs. Magruder, knocked on the door, and said, and very politely asked what was for dinner. And Mrs. Magruder showed him in the larder that they had some food, but they had no means of cooking it. Unfortunately, because as he could see, there was no kitchen left at the Battery Point Lighthouse. Now this low-level bureaucrat took out his ledger again, and he made it an edit. He crossed off the word not, and he says, I do, so that it read, I do see the evidence that there was once a kitchen at the Battery Point Lighthouse. And he took this dispatch with him back to Sacramento through great pains and submitted it to his superiors. And they finally sent the money up here to build this kitchen that you see right here. And that's the same kitchen as it was, and that's the story of the kitchen at the Battery Point Lighthouse, and a little piece of the life of Theophilus, Mr. and Mrs. Theophilus Magruder. Now let's go back down here and look at the channel because I think I might be in just about the same plight as the bureaucrat was when he came up here. So we will find out that very soon. Within the space of 20 minutes, we're almost cut off. Now, a bureaucrat could ride a horse across that, but if he waited any longer, well, he'd be stuck in the lighthouse with cold dinner. What's up, Rogue Trotters? Thanks for tuning in to another installment. It's really exciting to share our stories with you, so we wouldn't be here without you, so thanks so much. Please consider hitting like and subscribe down there, and then also head to our website. We have a full service tour company here in Southern Oregon, so we actually go to all these places that you see in our videos, and we are so excited to share these places with you and take you there in person. So if you want to start the conversation, just head to roguetrotter.com and that'll take you straight to our website. So yeah, and until then, happy trails.